I've been thinking, how do the laws get found when they don't know where to go? And I've been shaking, not many more twists and turns before I find the road. And I've been hoping for sunrise. I heard the dawn of hope can even light the way home. Just give me sunrise.
Welcome to the Purpose
'Cause there is
Podcast
a
with
myth
Dr.
that we're
Jazz, where
getting the
I'm your
best
host,
of me
Dr.
and
Jazz, and we journey to
others.
purpose together. As you all know, this is season 4, and we are focusing on people that work in their purpose in their occupation. Today, I have with me Miss Shemeka. How are you doing today?
I'm doing very well. Hi, everyone. Shemeka Brathwaite here.
Nice to see you and hear you as those people who are hearing you. As you all know, I usually just read the bio and we jump in, but I do want to remind you that you can send us a text message this season. So feel free to send us a text message. Let us know how you thought about any of the episodes so far. And yeah, let's get started. I'm going to read her bio, and y'all know I just dive in. Shemeka is a leadership productivity expert and a sought after speaker, regularly invited by organizations, associations, and educational institutions to deliver captivating programs on productivity, leadership, and executive presence. Through her immersive training initiatives, professionals discover innovative systems that optimize their time, allowing them to achieve remarkable results, amplify their influence, and live with intention. As a professional spoken word artist, Shemeka's dynamic and energetic messages resonate deeply with her audience. Her compelling performances have graced renowned open mic venues, including the African Poetry Theater and the Poets House. Shemeka's talent extends to the stage, where she's performed in the choreo poem production, The Poet's Testimony. Beyond her professional achievements, Shemeka is a devoted community advocate and philanthropist. Shemeka presented her TED Talk, Building Our Capacity to Serve, in the spring of 2024. Shemeka's educational background is as impressive as her accomplishments. She holds a master's degree in adult education and human resource development from Fordham University, where she honed her expertise in empowering individuals to reach their full potential. Additionally, she earned her Bachelor's of Science degree in fashion design from Syracuse University, showcasing her creative spirit and versatility. Her infectious energy, unwavering dedication to community uplift, and unparalleled expertise, Shemeka is dedicated to empowering purpose-driven leaders to unlock their potential, optimize their productivity, and create lasting impact. Prepare to be inspired. Oh, I like this last sentence. Prepare to be inspired as you embark on a transformative journey with one of today's most influential voices in leadership productivity. I love that. Welcome.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you for having me here today as a guest, Dr. Jazz.
Oh my goodness, I'm so excited. That last sentence just took me somewhere. Start adding a sentence like that to my bio. That's nice. What
Go
made you
ahead.
what made you add that type of sentence? I like that.
So when I write my bio, it's, really just, thinking about the purpose. And of course, ironically, this is the purpose of the podcast.
Yeah.
But, looking at it, you're introducing people. You want to add that personal touch. And I try to diversify it where, I don't want them to hear all these accomplishments, but then not hear the personal side. So sometimes I end it where I say something like, she could be easily bribed with fresh baked chocolate chip cookies and
Oh,
milk.
I love
So I just try
that.
to like mix it up where it's, you add different touches to it.
To personify
Yeah.
this person, because I know that when people read, because I read bios all the time for the podcast, right? And people become like this untouchable.
Right.
And you add this touchable piece to it so that I can now touch you. I love that. I'm always about, I don't want to use the word steal. I get inspired
Inspired.
by other people and like the way they run their businesses and the way they do things. And I always incorporate it. So this is something I'm going to incorporate because I love that. I love that. I love that. I love that. Anyway, let's get officially started with the podcast. And as you all know, the first question is always, what does purpose mean to you?
Yes, purpose. That is, I try to lead a purpose-driven life, right? Everyone heard about that book. And I really think that purpose is really about living intentionally and really thinking about what you do on a daily basis that motivates you to wake up. It inspires you. It leads you to make a difference in this world. It gives you a sense of accomplishment. And as I think about purpose, I think about what my purpose is. And my purpose is I love empowering people. I love either speaking to them, working with students, individuals who I'm able to speak into their lives. That is one of my purposes, to contribute to my community. That is something that is purposeful in making a difference in this world. So that's when I think about it, is about living intentionally. And what are you trying to accomplish? What is that legacy you're trying to leave behind?
So I have living intentionally. I'm sorry, I know I take notes and leaving a legacy. So I have two questions, one about each thing you said. Is when you say living intentionally, do you mean does that every moment of your day? Like, does that include rest? Does that include, like, what do you mean when you say living intentionally? And then I'll ask the second question in a second.
Yes, living with intention. It's about creating balance. And when I think about it, I'm a detailed planner. I love
You have
planning.
to be. You got 8 million things going on.
Yes, I love planning. So when I'm thinking about it and I'm looking at the broad strokes of what I want to paint, I have a picture of what I want my life to look like. And each of those decisions are that broad brushstroke that's going to paint that collage, that picture of what I imagine it to be. And living intentionally, it means, what are the steps and the decisions that I'm making that's going to lead me closer to that imagined desired end of what I'm looking for? And I try to do that in making it sustainable, where, yes, well-being, getting rest is included, having time with family, friends, serving my community, professional development, all the different elements in my life that I want to include in that. Those are the things put together helps to drive that intentionality of what I'm trying to accomplish.
I love that. I love that when you said, I have a picture of what I want my life to be, and the decisions I make, and the road I go, well, that's a different analogy, but the decisions I make like are the paint strokes of this picture that I want to create. I love that analogy because I know that a lot of people there's two things. They live their lives aimlessly, like they don't even have a picture for their life, or they have this picture for their life, but they don't paint it. It's just an empty canvas. So they know what they want it to look like, but they haven't taken the time to do the broad paint strokes, And you're saying, I take the time intentionally to create the paint strokes that create this picture. And I love that. So I still have a question about legacy, but about this. How did you get to the point where you said, I have to be the one to do those paint strokes for those people who have the picture? They know what they want it to look like, but they haven't started painting yet. How did you get there? Like, what mindset did you use? What tools, what conversations did you have for you to get there?
Yes. Dr. Jazz, I believe that nothing goes to waste, right?
Mm.
So when I was a young girl, I wanted to become a fashion designer. I went to the High School of Fashion Industries, majored in fashion design when I was in college, and worked in the fashion industry. So a lot of my analogies, I do pull from that, painting, the broad strokes. And I have to admit that there was a time when I was in college that I wanted to give up, where I literally had to create a collage of a picture, and I had to use these micro little dots to create it. I thought I wanted to quit. It was one of those defining moments. But when I think about it, anything that I wanted to do in life is just not going to fall into your lap. It's like, okay, I want to write a book. a book is not going to go, aha, and land on a bestseller list on my computer overnight. It's not going to happen. So what I mean by intentionality, whatever it is that I want to do, like if I want to do it, I put my mind to it, I plan it out, or just really work out the ways to make it happen. Eventually, in time, if I don't give up on it, it will happen. So when I've seen those success stories and testimonies of things that had happened in my life because I persevered and went after it intentionally, I said, okay, this is now the blueprint for me to now say, well, if I was able to do this, what if I imagine something else? And what I'm learning in the season of my life right now is I'm learning that that painting and that portrait is only as big as I imagine it. So I'm really trying to, even for myself, expand what my mindset and my possibilities are by, letting go of fear, expanding on letting go of any things, of any limited type of thinking, and really just stretching myself. Like, okay, if I knew I couldn't fail, what would I do? What can I accomplish? So that's how have been living my life, and what I'm aspiring to now take my life to the next stage.
I love that. I love that. It's what I heard, you can correct me if I'm wrong, it's the testimonies of when I try, something happens, right?
Yeah.
Like, and if I keep trying, eventually something will happen. And I speak to clients all the time that have these dreams, right? And I speak to clients all the time that have these thought processes. And they don't try. And I think the art of trying is lost. I tell people all the time, and people have heard me say on the podcast all the time, that I don't believe in failure. I believe that you try something and it didn't work out. I say you experimented, and I think that we're so afraid of what has happened in the past, or what we've seen, or what has been done to us, that we forget the art of trying.
Right.
Like, just try. And what I hear you say is that I know that I can do things because I try, and eventually, I get the paint stroke that I want. And people need to hear that, because they don't be trying. Try, y'all. Start
No,
trying.
it's the truth. I heard a quote that said, "I'd rather live a life of oh well than what if." And that is something that
Ooh.
stings when you're like, man, I wonder what if. And when you could say, oh well, it's like, you know what, I tried it. Oh well, it didn't work out, or that wasn't for me, or it wasn't something that I needed to do, or wasn't a right fit. But at least I could say I gave it a try. I did it. Oh well. And then sometimes life surprises you and you're like, oh my, you're
That's
like, wow, I
good.
did that. Like that just happened. That
No,
just,
that's good. That quote, that's good. I'd rather live a life of oh well than what if. Because the what ifs get you. Like,
yes,
what if I didn't try? What if I didn't? Yeah, that's good. Because when I think about my own life, I often say it's not going to work out because I didn't do my part.
right,
Like, I'm going to do everything I know to do to make this thing happen.
right,
I'm going to talk to the people. I'm going to send the email. I'm going to have the phone call. I'm going to do everything I need to do. And if it doesn't work out, I know I put my best foot forward in it,
right,
and it's the same vein, but that's said way better than what I say. But yeah, I say on along the lines of, if I'm not, it's not going to work out because I didn't do my part. That's what I usually say. Like, because then you can say the oh well, and that leads to the oh well. Like, well, I sent the emails, I called, I tried all the angles. Oh well, but I don't have the what if, because I've turned over every rock I knew to turn.
right.
So that's good. I like that. Okay, so I have a question about this legacy part, because you said what is purpose to you is living intentionally, but also creating a legacy.
Yes.
And I don't think about legacy. I hate to say this out loud on a podcast, but I don't really think about the future like I do, but I'm very like live in the moment, like what does today bring? Like I'm very like the Bible says today's troubles are enough for today. I'm very in that space, like let's get through Friday. Like that's very how I am. So I'm interested in this legacy concept because I just don't think that way.
Right.
I think about whatever, even if I do think it's something amazing, like in my head, it's over after it's over. So how, like when you say building legacy, what kind of legacy are you trying to build? Not to get into your personal business, it's like a children's thing, is it like a work thing, is it like a spiritual thing? Like what do you mean when you say building a legacy? Because I don't think like that.
No, it's it's a good question. And it's part of my purpose, right? So I founded my organization is Productive Presence because of that, right? So you are maximizing, you are living in the moment, you are experiencing the moment, you are here, you are fully present, you are making that impact. But that impact, similar to like an earthquake, it could be felt, right? You have the aftershock. It's still going and going and going. When you think about the earth moving, it's still the type of, even though we can't feel it right now on a microscopic level, it is still moving, it is still shifting, it is still changing the plane of where we are, where we stand. And when I think about legacy, I have two sons. So they're 9 and they're 5, right? I have two boys, and my husband and I, we work as a team, and our family motto is build a dynasty, leave a legacy. And one time I sat down and I said, it was just one of those moments where I was thinking about everything I wanted to do in my lifetime, because I'm a future thinker. So when I think about the strengths, the 5
Strengths finder. Yeah.
It's visionary, futuristic. And it was a struggle because I was always living and thinking about the future, the future, the future. I'm a techie. I'm always thinking about technology. I'm into technology that won't become popular until like the next 5 years or so. And it's kind of like a scenario where you are thinking about legacy. So I'm thinking about legacy. So what happened was, and I'm a quote person, right? So as you look at my bio, I love quotes. I'm a poet. I'm always thinking about how to illustrate complex life philosophies into these memorable quotes. So there's a quote that says, the best time to plant a tree was 20 years ago. The next best time to plant a tree is today, right? And it is so powerful because it's like, we are leaving and we are making moves where we may not even enjoy the fruits, right? It will be maybe our children or those who we've impacted that we left here. And I'm thinking about, on a family scale, there are things that I'm teaching my sons and I'm exposing them to that would set them up, that would set my grandkids up 2-3 generations. That some of the decisions that I made today, my grandchildren are going to benefit from it because of some of the decisions I made today. That's on a family basis. On a work basis, I work in the School of Education at a college, and I work with teachers, empowering and recruiting diverse men of color to become educators. And these are service teachers who then become teachers, who then gonna be the face of these diverse classrooms, who then is gonna impact these students, who then gonna grow up. As we know, teachers are the profession that create all professions. I don't know today of what that impact will look like 50, 100 years from now, but I do know that speaking those things now, it's going to create some type of a larger impact in the future. As I'm thinking about the teachers. And one of my students then became a teacher, to after school teacher to one of my sons. So I've already had the opportunity to see the fruit of like, wow, like I've empowered you, helped and supported you through school. And now look at you. Now you're one of the program directors of my son's after school program. So it's just constantly just thinking on a legacy basis, is that what I do today is going to have impact on someone that is going to be impacted in the future. And I've been very fortunate to have great mentors in my life that they made a difference in their generation and then was able to pass that torch on to me. And then I'm just looking to just pass it on, pass that mantle on to the next generation. So that's what I mean by thinking about legacy, is what we're doing today. If you're really being intentional about life and you just don't want to be a person that just started here, ended here, and just whoop, just moved on. And that was a great, dash in two endpoints of time, but you're a person that really made a difference and made an impact and really wasn't purposeful. You're thinking with legacy in your mind. And of course, enjoying the moment, enjoying the present, enjoying where you are now, enjoying all those moments that you have, but just thinking about in the back of your mind, like you mentioned, yes, in the Bible it says, not to worry, tomorrow has more cares of tomorrow than today, which is true. And that is something that keeps me grounded. It keeps me humble to like not overwhelm myself with anything that I have no control of. And then also at the same time, a wise person leaves an inheritance for their children's children. So I always try to be mindful of that as well. Of at some point, hopefully my hope is that would be able to be impacted later on in life.
No, I love that. I was just talking about me. I wasn't saying, I think about today. I'm very like today over. But I love that the two things that you said a lot of good things, but the two things that stuck out to me was that earthquake, right? Like what I do today does have a ripple. What I do today does has the capacity to affect next week, next year, 10 years from now. And also I don't know what you said, but this is what I thought when you said it, is that what I said, like in my head, was Shemeka is just planting seeds. Like that is what I heard,
Right.
like when you say creating legacy, you mean planting these seeds in these people and wondering if it's going to become 100-year-old oak tree. And I actually have 100-year-old oak tree in my yard. So
Wow.
like 100 years ago,
Someone.
like someone planted this tree or the acorn dropped or whatever, and what do we have today because of this tree? And I love that you even went that far when you were, I don't know if you did it intentionally, but I do believe that there are things that we are living in today that were started 100 years ago because someone decided to plant a seed.
Yes.
So yeah, now that feel like pressure though. I was about to lie and say I was gonna start thinking about legacy, but I'm not. They feel like pressure, Shemeka. I don't wanna. I'm gonna wait for I get married and let my husband think about that. He gonna tell me. He could be like, Jasmine, it's for our legacy. I'm like, okay, because I am very like, how can I impact today?
Yes.
And I'm also but that earthquake thing is what's getting me. I think I'm stuck on that because my mindset is the podcast is released every other Thursday. Who's listening to it this Thursday? I'm not thinking about the fact that people can go back to the episodes I recorded in 2021.
Archives.
Yeah, like
Yeah.
I'm not thinking about that. I'm thinking about your episode comes out on this day. It's going to be great. And I move on to the next episode, not thinking somebody's going to listen to this episode 5 years from now.
No,
And
no.
that earthquake, right, of this hour or however long we're going to spend together and what it's going to do for someone else. I never really thought about that. I'm very do it, drop it, move on to the next thing. But again, I'm gonna let my hood do. He
No,
gonna tell.
no. But one thing that the media have shown us, right, is people are pulling, like the word archive. Oh my God. It's like, I just like unpacking so many different things, right? Because we only have a short amount of time. But when you think about archives, right? And because I'm a historian, I love history. You know, you can't, I mean, you so much to read. There's nothing new under the sun,
Yeah.
right? There's history repeats itself so many different ways.
Yeah.
And when you think about whether it's media, celebrities, politicians, they will find that archive video from 20 years ago,
Yeah.
40 years ago, 50 years ago. They will pull it out, the archive. When you see people who've been selected as a host for the Oscars, someone who had extra time on their hand would skim through thousands of tweets just to find that one tweet. So when you put it out there, it's there. It's like you are, it's there. So when I think about this, you know, this podcast, I'm here in the moment, but it's now history. History is
earthquake.
It's happening. 20 years from now, 5 years from now, people, you know, people would listen to it. It's permanent, it's history now. So I'm always intentional and mindful of even what I say, you know, because you never know. It comes back around. And it's like you said, it becomes second nature. So it's not like I'm carrying like this burden, like, oh my gosh, I gotta watch every I, dot every T, but it's more like, you know, what am I going to say today? It's going to resonate with someone. It may happen today. It may happen on November 7th. It may happen afterwards, but it's happening.
Yeah, I love that. I love that. Okay, great. So let's get back to the questions that I was supposed to be asking you. Because I'm telling you, this earthquake thing, I'm gonna take that with me. Because I just don't think about, I just don't. I go to sleep and I wake up and it's a brand new day. Like I just don't think like that. So I'm really interested in your story, reading your bio and you sharing a little bit of your story of I want to be in fashion, right? So you go from fashion to teaching teachers to professional development. How did this journey happen? And like, did you find purpose in each part? Do you believe you're in your final purpose? Is there something next? Like, I'm just interested in like this fashion to education to TED Talk, you know, like tell us the story.
So we're always growing, we're always developing, we're always becoming, you know, a better version of ourselves, right? If you're committed to growth, let me rephrase that, because it's a choice. If you are committed to becoming a better version of yourself, you're constantly growing, nothing goes to waste, and you see how it all folds into a greater purpose and even takes it to the next level. So I did start it out with a passion for fashion, still do. And the thing about fashion was that I did not have work-life balance. I was working from 9 a.m. in the morning till 10 o'clock at night, took an hour to get home, got home by 11 o'clock, went to bed by 12, and had to do it all over again. And it was not the life that I wanted for me. And I didn't feel it was purposeful. At that time, working in the fashion industry, we did a lot of knockoffs. We copied off of our competitors. We competitively shopped, copied what they did. So it was like I did all this work to get into an industry just to be a copy of someone else, and then not have that work-life balance that I wanted, because I knew what I wanted for myself. I wanted a family. I wanted to create this picture of what I wanted. And if I stayed in that path, it was, I was in a doctor's office almost every other week trying to figure out like stress, anxiety, like all these different things. So I left it because it was not serving the greater purpose. When I put the job and them before my own mental health, physical health. So I switched and went over into higher education. I use more of the creativity now than when I was actually working in the fashion industry. So I did nonprofit, I'm in higher education, and working in higher education, I do a lot of work in the community. I do a lot of fundraisers, fundraising galas, balls, and many of these are themed. So one could be, I did a brown sugar ball in the fall, and everyone had to wear brown, shades of brown. So being the artist that I am, I was able to make a really nice, beautiful couture brown gown to wear to this event. I got a masquerade ball coming up. The theme is glitter and gold. I'm gonna figure out something really nice that I'm gonna make that's gonna be with glitter and gold inspired. So I'm still using my artistic skills, but in a different way. I believe in one of the things I speak about is executive presence. How do you show up in the room? How do you carry yourself? In addition to that, your style. How are you putting your authentic style together? So all the skills that I've learned in fashion, that goes into executive presence. It goes into personal branding. How do you market? How do you sell? How do you create a brand? So all of those skill set, I still utilize it today, more than ever. I absolutely love it. And it all, in regards to my purpose, this is not the only, I got bitten. So I'm a doctoral candidate in community-based leadership.
Congratulations.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much. I'm so excited about that. And I got bitten by a cinematography bug, which I did not know that I had. And I created a documentary in my first year of my doctoral program. It got selected to be in the film festival for the college. And I loved it. I'm a storyteller, and I love transforming and visually and dynamically communicating those stories, amplifying the voices of these people and their story, and doing it through cinematography, mini documentaries. I just got bitten by the book. So I just think that my next stage in life is just going to be a storyteller, but in so many different formats. I love it. And I'm just growing. I'm just open to see where life takes me on
I
this journey.
love that. So what I was taking notes while you were talking, and one of the things that stuck out to me was what you where you thought you would use the skill set you developed, it wasn't your purpose. So the skill set, right, that the fashion, the creativity, the doing that project that made you question everything, right? The skill set was not is a part of your purpose, but where you used it at was not your purpose. And I think that's so powerful, and people need to hear that we have skills that are transferable. And being creative is a part of your purpose, but where you do that and how you do that, it may not look the way you assumed it would look, right? Like, I feel like everyone on earth does not like the path that you went was not when you were 5, when you were 10, when you were 18 and you graduated high school. It's not where you thought you were going to be, but realizing this skill set of creativity that I have and I can use it in different areas is so powerful. Like
Yes.
that's good to, I mean, obviously you're on our podcast and the whole point is that you use your skill set for your purpose. But I think that's so powerful that you know that, because as someone who is actively fighting, no, I'm not anymore, but was actively fighting this skill set that is used in all these different places. Because sometimes, I'll be honest, I don't want to use it. I just want to chill. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to be the leader. I don't want to teach the class. I just want to chill. I don't want to use and that's a skill set that I know that I have, that no matter where I go, the skill set belongs to me. It doesn't belong to this job. It doesn't belong to this place. So that's good. I said a lot, but you've been inspiring me a little bit. Okay. So that's good. I don't know. I think, yeah, I had a question, then I talked too long. But I think the question I had is like, when did you realize, okay, fashion is not my purpose. I'm gonna switch over to education, but this skill set is mine. Like when did that
Right.
happen.
So when I came to the point where I knew I wanted to switch over. So when I was working in the fashion industry, so you always have that aha moment, that moment that really changes everything for you. And I remember I had a toothache. I had to go to the dentist, and I was supposed to just go home and rest. And I was like, no, I gotta get to work. I gotta get to work. The burden, the pressure of just put in the work before my own needs. And I got to the office and the swelling didn't go down. And I just felt everything was just closing in. And I just felt like God was like, if you cannot even like breathe, then everything else is like, it's not even going to matter. Like you need to give yourself the most essential, most important thing that you need. And I was just like, no. And I was sitting there, I was sick, I was struggling. I was like, I'm like all stuffy. And what happened was I was like, okay, I'm going to have to switch. I'm going to have to switch careers. And I was dabbling and taking career coaching classes at the local university here where I live. And the classes were closed, right? There was no more spaces for the classes. Oh my God, I got like so many stories. So I'm going to keep it short. So I couldn't, the classes were closed. And I was like, God, if I could get into this class, if you could make a way for me to get into this class, I will do whatever I need to do. Like you just name it. Like God, you just say, so lo and behold, I was able to get into the class. I was able to work it where I was able to connect to all the decision makers. They opened up the class, not only for me, but they extended it where 4 people in total was able to attend the class. So it was me and 3 other people were then able to get into class. So I was like, yes, I got it. I'm into this coaching program. I am great. God was like, okay, now you got to resign from work on Monday.
Oh.
I was like, oh, okay. Monday comes along. I'm like, when I say I got testimonies about testimonies, I do. I go into the office. I wrote up my resignation letter because I gotta be obedient, right? I gotta be obedient. So I go in. I cannot get HR. I cannot get HR. The phone is busy. No one I could get in HR. I get to HR like at 4:30 in the afternoon. I just ran up there. I was like, look, I need to let you know that I need to resign. Like, I just have to resign, like right now. She was like, do you have your resignation letter on you? I said, no, it's at my desk. She was like, give me your resignation letter, like right now. Go upstairs. I handed my resignation letter. The next day, I kid you not, there was a mandatory meeting for everyone in the entire department, the whole entire company. And they were like, everyone that's an employee have to go to this meeting. And I was the only one not going. And they were like, Shemeka, why are you not going to the meeting? I was like, well, I resigned yesterday. I'm no longer, I'm not privy to whatever confidential information is being shared. And they were like, okay, like, what are you going to do? And I said, I'm going to start my career. I'm going to go into career coaching. I'm going to go in higher ed, workforce development. They were like, okay. They all went to that meeting and found out that the company, the department was closed. They were all losing their jobs.
That's why the HR lady said it.
They came back. And let me tell you, that was the start of my career coaching life. That was the start. That was the absolute start. They were like it didn't make sense. Like 2 hours ago, it made sense. Like, wow. Like, can you imagine? That would have been a what if moment. What if I did not resign on Monday? If I did not resign on Monday, like it, I mean, that was like 15 years ago, but it's just one of those things where when you're living in your purpose, you're going to come to these decision moments. where you got to take a leap of faith. You gotta make decisions. It is these
No.
pivotal transferable moments. That is one of those moments for me that's when I knew, like, I had to make the shift. I knew that it was no longer fashion. I needed to do this. The doors were opening up for me in this area, and you got to follow it, right?
Yeah.
Doors and opportunities open up. And I was just like, okay, the program open up, the doors open up. I need to close this door, because too many people, they ride the fence and they waver, and they're like, okay, I want to put my foot in here. I want to dabble, but they got the door wide open to something else that they could easily fall back into and get comfortable and say, I don't want to do it. So it happened. I went full force.
That, let me tell you, because I don't have a testimony similar to that, but God is intentional, right? And like, you need to resign because they about to fire everybody. And resigning and firing have two different, like, that's two different things in the HR world. That
Yes.
lady knew she had your back. She was like, no, if you gonna resign, you need to resign right now. Like, and man, that's,
It
yeah.
it was one of those what if situations, because they immediately just fired people, because some people they didn't want to give a severance package to. Some people they just want to automatically fire them before they made it. So it was just a lot of different things. But I just knew that the way how everything went down, I feel confident that I made the decision, not somebody else made the decision, not someone else said I needed you to do this. And it was not even about other people. But like, okay, God, like I promise that if you got me into this program and I was able to do this, I would fully go forward. So I think that when it comes to purpose, some people are either scared of purpose. Some people, sometimes, I'm not even gonna lie, sometimes opportunities come up and you're like, man, am I cut out for this? Can I do this? Like, why is this happening now? Like, why did this opportunity happen now? Or why did this challenge happen now? But you just gotta like press into it.
So here's my question to you to speak to that. So from the professional side, from the personal side and the professional side, how do you deal with that? Right? That, why did this opportunity come now? I'm afraid of purpose. So like on the career side of like helping teachers and helping them see their purpose and helping them make a difference, like, what do you tell people? And then on a personal side, what do you tell yourself? Are they the same? Because what I tell people is different than what I tell myself. So like, are they the same, or like, are they different? Because there are a lot of people that are literally afraid of purpose.
Right. With teachers, so with the teachers that I work with, people are not gravitating to the teaching profession because they're going to become multimillionaires. So let's be honest. So you're here. I really say to them, you got to know that you want to be in this, that you want to do this. And it's okay if you try it and it's like, okay, it's not for you, but at least you tried it. So I tell them, but one thing that I always also tell my students is that you don't have to have a cookie cutter life where people say that this is the box that you're in. You're going to become a teacher. You're going to only make X amount of dollars a year. And this is what your life is going to look like. And in 25 years, you're going to retire, collect your pension, and, retire under the sunset. You could say, I've taught my students that you can design what your life would look like. So you could still be a teacher, but you could be an entrepreneur on the side. You could still do other things. You could still do other layers of things that talk to the different passions and the layers of who you are. That's how I do it as a higher education administrator. I don't look at it as a cookie cutter path, like, okay, you're either the academic, professorship, or you're in administration, all the way up to college president. I look at it as in, what are the things that I could do in my life that that I could enrich this and add different layers. And I teach that to my students as well. So I never try to be conventional with them to give them that's why I had to leave career service, traditional career service, working in career services offices when I was in higher ed, because we were trained or we were mandated to give cookie cutter answers. And that's the reason why I moved under academic affairs, where I had a little bit more flexibility and freedom to really share that message that would empower students to be more impactful, not only in the classroom, but how they can also be impactful in the community as well.
That's good. And I hear a theme in your life that wherever you are, that you can't be creative, that's not the place for you. Like, that's what I hear, because you're like in career services, because I couldn't be creative, but helping students here, I can push them in different pathways to pursue their purpose. So what do you tell yourself, when opportunities come along, like you're a poet and you own a business and you work in higher ed and you're in a PhD program, like you have a lot, and you're a mom and you're a husband and a wife and you have all these different elements to you. Yeah, what do you take? Because I know there are moments where opportunity comes or there's a new shift and you're not welcoming to all of them. So like, how do you navigate them on your own?
No, so that is good. So it's really having some type of system in place, right? So I'm a doctoral student, got all the things on my plate that you're listing. And the opportunity to do a TED Talk came about, right? In the middle of doing this dissertation and 5 million other things. And it was such a great opportunity. Like, the opportunity of a lifetime must be seized in the lifetime of that opportunity. It wasn't like oh, I got too much going on. Come back again for me next year. Come back for that wasn't going to happen. So it was one of those things where it was difficult. It was a lot. It was a challenge. I think it was more harder than working on my actual dissertation, but being able to seize that opportunity, it meant so much in order to do that. I do a quiz with people. I have like this little quiz, your time management diva personality, right? So we all got this time management diva personality. And I assess, like, I don't give up an opportunity, but I leverage on how I engage with that opportunity. So I may say, you know what, this is great. I'm all in. I'm grassroots. I'm doing that. I'm there. I'm gonna make it happen. And then sometimes I say, you know what, I can't be as involved, but here's 2 or 3 ideas that I could contribute to enhance that opportunity, or just, put my 2 cents in. You know what, I could help by at least promoting it to my friends, sharing it. So sometimes I do have some touch point of some level of engagement with it. And then sometimes it's absolutely not a right fit, because sometimes people come with opportunities that's a great opportunity for them, but it may not necessarily be a good opportunity for you. So I quickly say no. Like, no, sorry, it's not a fit. Thank you for considering me, but I'm going to have to say no.
And how do you decide? Like, is it things that are not in your purpose, or how do you decide?
Right. So, and that's a good thing. So once you're clear about your purpose of who you are and what you want to do, it creates the framework for the things that you would accept, would not accept. It helps to create those boundaries of your time, of what you're involving yourself in. You're thinking about the return of investment. And then also, when I think about things that are not for me, or that's not purposeful, I really just think about, there are some things that may absolutely surprise you. Like I said, like, I was not even thinking about doing film. All of a sudden, like, I got bitten by the bug, and that's something that now I will create space for. So sometimes you get tapped for things where you say, you know what, let me think about this. This may not be a bad idea after all. and you open it and it open up additional doors of opportunity for you. But it all begins with that goal and that plan of what you want and how does that play into that bigger picture. And if it doesn't line up, if it doesn't align, because alignment is something that is very important, then it's a no.
Okay. So alignment is how you decide on what is, I like the way you said that may be a good opportunity for you, but it may not be a good opportunity for me. I love that. My mom always says, and I've heard other people say this too, every good idea is not a God idea. And having to know the difference between, what is a good idea and what is the God idea for you. Yeah, that definitely makes sense.
Yes, lots of distractions. Whew. Distractions. So you gotta be able to deal with those distractions, because some things are just that. It's a distraction.
But how do you, so you deal by saying no?
I do say no. I say not at this time. I say no. And then depending on the opportunity, it may be truly a good opportunity that, like I said, it may be you got to seize it in that time frame. And it may not come back around. So sometimes you were like, you know what, I just got to bite the bullet on this one, get through it, and then move forward with certain opportunities, because I've had opportunities that came in my life earlier than anticipated. I remember being a young woman in my mid-30s, and I said, oh, this will be great. This will be a great opportunity when I'm in my mid-40s, late 40s. And then that opportunity came in my mid-30s, and it was like, oh, okay. Like it came earlier in life. And sometimes you just got to go with the flow, and you grow. And you grow through some of those decisions as well.
I love that. I had a question and it disappeared out of my brain when you were talking.
Yeah.
Oh my goodness. I went blank. I'm sorry, audience. It was something about distractions though. Oh, how did you develop? Because you're a very focused person. Like you are laser sharp. Like Shemeka knows what paint strokes, will get this. And not a lot of people that listen to, well, let me not say that, but people that listen to the podcast, I feel like they're listening because they want to know about purpose and to learn about purpose. And they're not, and me too, shoot. I don't know if I know every paintbrush I need at every moment, but, and I know you don't either, but you are just a very focused individual, which I admire. And my question is, how did you develop that focus? Like, did you practice getting rid of distraction? Like, how did you get so laser sharp is the question.
No, that's
it's aspirational. Like, how did you do that?
No, it's a good question. So being able to know there are things beyond your control, and there's things that you can't control, right? So I'm now getting to a place where I'm like, look, I have no control over that. I'm here. And one of the things a life experience had taught me. So I came up with this thing called know when to pace and when to chase. And pace is peace at caring efficiently. So there are certain things that I gotta know when there are things that I need to be intentional about. And these are the specific things that I need to chase. I need to go after. I need to be focused and making it happen. And then there's certain things that's out beyond my control. I just pace myself because I know I'm at peace, at caring efficiently. If it happens, it happens. Or when it happens, it happens. And when it happens, or if it happens, or if the opportunity presents itself, I'm here, I'm available, but I have no control because there's so many factors outside of me. And then when I think about distractions and saying no and just being focused, it's tough because you're gonna say no to people, and it's gonna hurt because they're gonna be like, you're not hanging out with us as much as you did, and but you are doing it, but intentionally you're you're allocating the right amount of time. You're just balancing it out. And I think that's where the focus is. And people, and you're not living in an isolated bubble. So you're kind of like, you have the fears of influence, fears of distraction. So my inner circle, they could call me up and say, hey girl, what you doing today at 3:00? And I could probably drop everything and I probably may be able to do that.
Mhm.
But that all belongs to that line of access.
Mhm.
So it's nothing wrong with putting people, place, things, and situations and knowing what they mean and how they impact you. Is nothing wrong. And when you start intentionally putting those
Understood.
type of descriptors around people, place, things, and situation, it helps to manage those scenarios.
No, that's good. That piece about boundaries, proximity, not just what these people, places, and things are, but how they impact you. That is the part, because I'm in the process of changing my diet and cleaning up my diet, and
Yes.
I'm trying to be as pure as possible. And in that, I'm learning what impacts me. And
Yes.
like once you take something out, you don't realize till you put it back in that is horrible for your body. And even learning like, okay, if I eat this, tomorrow gonna be rough for you. And like it, but tomorrow you have to report a podcast with Shemeka, so you can't eat dairy today. You got, if you want to eat dairy, you need a whole weekend to get your body back right. You know what I'm saying? And
Yes.
like that, how it impacts you part helps you to stay focused. Cause I always tell people, I even plan the silly, right? Like if I know
Yes.
I'm going on vacation and I might have some ice cream, you know what I'm saying? I will plan to eat my ice cream on the first day. So the
Yes.
whole rest of the week, I got time to get my life together so that when I come back, you know what I'm saying? That how it impacts you part. Because even though it's the intentionality part. So even though I'm eating something that's not good for my body, I'm eating dairy, but I'm intentional of when and
Yes.
how, and like where I am. I'm on vacation. It's not
Yes.
at I don't buy ice cream from my house. Having that, man, this is good. That's good. Because it's just making me think about the relationships that I have that
Yes.
do get me off focus. And I know they get me off focus. I'm not oblivious to that,
Oh, yeah.
but also realizing, okay, you can talk to this person once every 3 weeks.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Because it takes up so much mental energy for you
Yes.
that you can only give them that once every 3 weeks.
Yes.
And that what impact you can go out, Jasmine, but you can't go out every Friday. That's not you as a person. Because it impacts you differently. That part of the focus, I'm stealing that. I'm about to tell that to people. That's good.
No, you got it. It's the people, and it's the people the closest to you. They try to test your boundaries. Like my dad will call me up the night before and say, hey, I'm receiving an award at such and such. And it's like, okay, dad, this is my dad. Like, how could you
Yeah.
not go to his, like, dad, you gotta let me know in advance. Like, it's
Yeah.
like you gotta train them, right?
Yeah.
Um,
And I
yeah,
definitely have been doing that for the last couple of years. Like I honor the Sabbath, and people know, like you call me on a Sunday. So the way I honor the Sabbath, I don't know how you're supposed to. Is this the only day I give myself permission to not do anything I don't want to do?
yeah,
It's the only day. So if I don't want to talk to you, I'm not answering the phone. Like I don't feel bad for it. I don't whatever. I don't take meetings. I don't answer the emails. It's the only if your birthday party's on a Sunday and I don't feel like going, no matter how much I love you, I don't go because it's the only day I give myself permission for that. And I have the people around me know like if this is business and you call Jess on a Sunday and she pick up, she's not gonna talk to you. Like I'm gonna be like, let's talk about this tomorrow. Like, and I've trained, and I
yeah.
hate to use that word, but I have, like, I've trained the people around me, like, don't now people know, y'all know Jasmine ain't answering the phone. It's Sunday,
Yeah,
you know, like
yeah,
I'm not, because
exactly.
you do have to create, and that helps with my focus because my Sunday is my recharge day. And
Yeah.
if I feel like cleaning my house from top to bottom because I feel like doing it, that's what I do, you know, and it gives you energy because that's what you want to do, you know. Um, anyway, I got off track, but that's good. I'm gonna start telling people that you gotta figure out how these stuff impact you, not just the moment. It's
Right.
about that earthquake. It's
Yes.
about that earthquake. It's not just the moment, it's the earthquake, the impact. How are things shifting because you
Yes.
said yes to that? That's good.
Yes. You say yes to something, you're saying no to something else. And it's like, and like you said, you just take an inventory of, like you said, your personal Sunday. This is your manifesto. This is nope, this is not, I'm not doing. So you just start building those in place, and it just becomes your guide points on how you move through it. And I'm telling you, it becomes second nature, and it creates that structure. You want
I
to have the
love that.
flexibility, but it also creates the structure.
I love that. I love that. So my next to last question is, what is your purpose? Like, succinctly, if somebody walked up to you on the street and was like, Shemeka, what's your purpose? What would you tell them?
Live intentionally, work purposefully, and maximize my value. That
Oh, I love
that's what I say.
that. Live intentionally, work
Work
purposely,
and
and
max.
maximize my value. I love that for a couple reasons. One, because it's dope. Two, because it's the little that I know about you, it speaks to how you move. Like, you are doing four things simultaneously right now that are four totally different things, but in each one, you're intentional, you're purposeful, and you're maximizing. And third, it doesn't put you in a box because you're so creative. Like, those are the things that I heard when you said that, because I'm like, no, that makes sense. Because my purpose is very succinct, but well, what I believe it is today. I also believe that there are seasons. But how I do that is where the creativity comes from me. Like, I get bored, doing the same thing over and
Yes.
over. But I'm very like, this is what I'm created to do. I'm created to feed God's sheep physically, mentally, spiritually, and I'm created to help people find and pursue their purpose, right? And today that looks like a podcast, but 10 years from now, it doesn't know, I don't know what that looks like. So I love that you can do that in any space. And you're
Yes.
proving, like, those three things, you do them in every. I love that. That's
There
good.
there you go. There you go. You could do it. It's all about alignment. Like everything just got to connect. There's a connecting thread through everything. It doesn't feel like double work, like, oh my gosh, I'm doing extra, extra. It all connects. It all connects.
I love that. I love that. And then my last question is, people get nothing else from this episode. They have listened to us talk for however many minutes. And they have said she is saying some great stuff, but I don't remember none of it. They say people only remember 10% of what you say. If they get nothing else out of this episode, what do you want them to hear?
I just want them to understand that you got to be intentional. Like I can't emphasize that enough, that what you want out of life, if you go after it and put a plan to it, you can start working towards making that happen. And once you try to figure it out, and just being able to know that your time is your most valuable asset. Like really, just once you start knowing how to just maximizing it, it really, and becoming intentional, you could do many different things that you want to set your heart out on to accomplish.
Well, thank you. Thank you so much for being here, Shemeka. This has been a great episode of the Purpose Podcast. And thank you all to everyone listening to this episode of the Purpose Podcast. Remember, we release episodes every other week. So I'll see you in 2 weeks, not next week. Come back in 2 weeks. And send us a text message. Okay, let us know what you think, and we do respond. So I'll see y'all all later. Bye, Shemeka.
Bye.
This here fever burning down on these dry bones. We've all got the fever.